What is up, everyone? My name is Alfonso Lopez and I'm the owner of Let's Work Official, a coaching company where we help men and women transform their lives through health and fitness from top to bottom. And in today's video, I wanted to kind of do another sit down video, or pretty much I've always been doing sit down videos, but this video is going to be more or less kind of about how I was able to not be so much of the introverted kid that I grew up as, because I was, always fat and out of shape, and how losing weight and getting into better shape really kind of unlocked that thing that I needed for me when it came to not being so introverted, but also how I went about not being that introverted person as well, because obviously it takes some practice. So a little bit of backstory. Like I said, I grew up the fat and out of shape kid really kind of my entire life. I was, picked on for it, always picked last, made fun of, bullied, the whole 9 yards, man. I mean, granted, I was kind of a really heavy and husky kid. And because of that, I really struggled with confidence and self-belief. And because of that, I really never spoke up or went after the things that I went after. And because of that, one instance, my dad had told me like, hey man, if you don't learn how to get over this shyness or this introvertness, I don't even know if that's a word, it's gonna kill you. And me being me, I took that as a challenge where I was just like, you know what, man, screw you. Not literally, you know what I mean? Like, I love my dad, but I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna take that as a challenge to prove you wrong. And around the time that he said that was also around the time that I was really getting more and more into fitness, really trying to lose the weight, really trying to get into better shape, because I just wanted to feel better about myself. But not only did I want to feel better about myself, I wanted to kind of show to the outside world as well that I am better with how I talk, how I walk, how I act, how I dress, and everything else. So long story short, I ended up losing, 100 pounds and getting into better shape. And I never forgot when my dad told me that. I was like, okay, this is a challenge. I'm taking it as a challenge and I need to get better at that. And around this time, I was working at a company most people know about called Dick's Sporting Goods. I was a cashier. It's just what I got hired on as I was heading to college. It was actually a really good and beneficial job for me. And as I was, working there, I was losing the weight and getting into better shape. And one of the best things that happened to me while working there is that I had a manager who, he would tell me something. Obviously, your boss will tell you something and you do it, right? Normally, most people don't, especially in an entry-level position like that. But whenever he told me something, I would fully dive in and do it. And one of the things that he told me as a cashier is like, hey, you have to greet every single person that walked into the door. So as you can imagine, I'm still trying to lose this weight and get into better shape. I lost it while there, but while I started, I was in the middle of that journey, or really the beginning of it. So here I was, this fat and out of shape, introverted kid, raising his hand and waving at every single person that walked into that door, greeting them. But what it was doing for me, it was also just kind of building my internal confidence as I was getting into better and better shape. And whenever I had actually gotten to this shape, I really took that initiative to even get better at greeting people and talking to people. And what I would do is like I said, I was a cashier, and I actually got promoted within the cashiers, where it's like, hey, you're no longer the entry-level cashier, you're like the head cashier when things go wrong, right? Which is really cool for me, because I was like, wow, I've never been promoted, I've never had an actual significant title, you could say, and it made me feel really good about myself. But what I would do is I would do two things. I would, three things. I would greet every customer, right? Because that's what that boss told me to do, and it's extremely important, so I did it. The second thing that I'd do is every time a customer came to check out and there was multiple cashiers, I would intentionally go out of my way to be like, hey, I'll get you. Like, hey, I'll take you, no worries, right? And the third thing that I would do is that I would, every time I go from the cashier, right, because they're up front, in the front of the building, and the restrooms are in the back, every time I'd go from the front to the back to either, a lunch break, use the bathroom, whatever, if I walk by a customer, and oftentimes I would intentionally walk by a customer, I would ask them, hey, do you need anything? How's your day going? Anything I need to help? And even if they said no, it was just me getting to the practice of speaking up and talking to more and more people. And because of that, during that time, even while I was a cashier, this is actually a pretty cool story within it. One time I took a customer and I was just kind of talking about hey, I was sitting in my car before walking in, and I get an email from my professor, and she's like, you don't have a life, don't do this, and you're gonna need all these textbooks. And I was like, man, this is gonna cost me a few $100, so let me start picking up some extra shifts. And I was telling her the story, and she, you know, checked out. She was definitely buying back to school clothes for her kids. And she generously pulled my manager to the side, and my manager pulled me aside and was like, hey, go outside, this lady wants to talk to you. And I was like, holy crap, I don't know what I did. And she tipped me $200. Well, that tip came because I took her, and there was 4 other cashiers, and her cart was full and nobody else would take her. And that's why she tipped me, but also because we were having a very good, genuine conversation. I was just kind of telling her where I was at. I was asking her questions. I was asking her things that she was doing as well. And we just had a really good interaction. And because of that, I don't like saying I got rewarded for it, but definitely, you know, the man above guy was kind of watching out for me. He was like, hey, he told this lady to bless me with the money. And she did, and it was an awesome experience. But all that came from, you know, me putting myself out there. But to kind of tie this all in and wrap it up, you know, my introvertness and shyness, you know, the only way I got over that was by, one, getting into better shape, right? Because when you feel good about you, like, it's gonna radiate in everything else that you do, right? You kind of want to get better at other things now because you're no longer in your own head thinking about, like, how do I look? How do I feel? How does this shirt feel? Doing the shirt tug, right? I call it the fat man tug. Let's call it is what it is, right? And because of that, like I said, I just wanted to get better at more and more things. And getting out of my shell and talking to more people is what allowed me to do that, was because I felt good about me. So the key takeaways, you know, when it came to me getting out of my shell and me being more confident and comfortable with other people was, one, getting to better shape, and two, just intentionally putting myself out there where I had no other option but to talk to someone. And right now in society, we can even tie this back into the current world that we live in. People don't like talking to people. People are stuck on their phone. People don't like having interactions. And if you are someone that is young and you want to separate yourself, one of the best things you can do, man, is learn how to communicate and talk to people. If you intentionally go out of your way and talk to someone, people are gonna notice that. So that's what I personally did, was I took, you know, the bulls by the horns and was like, you know what, I need to get better at this. And while all my other peers weren't necessarily thinking about that stuff, and maybe they were already good at it, I knew it was something that I needed to get better at. So I invested my time and effort into it. And those same skills that I learned, sorry, my dog is kind of yapping over here. Those same skills that I learned while working at Dick's Sporting Goods still serve me to this day, because I laid that foundation and then I slowly built upon that foundation. So hopefully someone took away some value from this video about how to get over your shyness and your introvertness, man. It's not an easy thing to do. It is still something that I personally, I wouldn't say struggle with, I'm a lot better at now. But even in today's world, the world that I live in today, I work remote, I'm always on my laptop, but I intentionally have to go out of my way and talk to people, compliment people. It's actually something that I have on my to-do list every single day, just so that way I don't lose that skill set. And also, you just never know who you're gonna run into as well. And you could be one relationship away from a completely different life, is how I look at that. So like you said, hopefully you guys took away some value from today's video. And like I said, I know these past 2 videos have all been a little bit different, but they all tie back into health and fitness and just feeling better about yourself. And then what do you do once you do start to feel better about yourself? So hopefully you guys take away some value. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and we'll see you guys in the next one.